Howdy, Dennis Bradford here. Let's think some about being, feeling, and doing better. Here's a second myth that blocks emotional well-being. The myth of passivity is the idea that we must be passive whenever we experience unwanted emotions. The proposition is that emotions, like weather fronts, pass over us without our consent. There's nothing we can do about them. We've no choice but to endure them. The myth of passivity is particularly virulent because when we attach to it, it undermines the possibility of emotional well-being. What's its purpose? That's easy, to cast us in the role of helpless martyrs whose only choice is to die or to endure until the emotional storm passes. We're victims of our own emotions. According to it, although attempting to battle such powerful forces may be noble, it's always as fruitless as trying to kill a hurricane with a sword. Hogwash! If a persistent unwanted emotion ever again threatens to render you passive, please go through this playlist again. Free yourself. We've seen that beliefs are thoughts to which we decide to attach. Every emotion has a belief at its core. So, whenever you want to get rid of an emotion, stop attaching to the belief at its core. There are no emotions without beliefs, and you have power over your beliefs. You can change them. If nothing else, at least suspend attaching to them. Common everyday thoughts and language are seriously infected by the myth of passivity. Supposedly, we are, for example, paralyzed by fear, as if we were quadriplegics. We are distracted by sadness, as if someone were blasting rock music loudly in the next room. We are driven by anger, as if someone were poking us with a cattle prod. We are plagued by disgust, as if by a swarm of locusts. And so on and on. If you fail to examine common everyday thoughts and language, you'll condemn yourself never to rise above the common level of wisdom, or more accurately, foolishness. In the introduction to his great A Treatise of Human Nature, Hume notes that all sciences, all conceptual frameworks, relate to an understanding of human nature. Quote, "'Tis impossible to tell what changes and improvements we might make in these sciences were we thoroughly acquainted with the extent and force of human understanding," end quote. We should, therefore, scrutinize how we use our powers of understanding. Sloppiness and inaccuracy in thought and speech undermines the quality of our lives. Sadly and unnecessarily, even though emotions are important, ignorance about them is ubiquitous. It's true that you are not directly responsible for any unwanted emotions you experience. Therefore, again, never should on them. Instead, admit that you are indirectly responsible for them because without your beliefs, they wouldn't exist. Accept them completely. You don't have to do anything directly about them. Accept them completely and simply focus on them until they dissolve, which is the essence of the peacefulness process method advocated earlier in this series. That's all you need to do. Afterwards, give calm scrutiny to those beliefs that enabled them to arise. The more you work on yourself that way, the more emotional freedom you'll enjoy, and the more peaceful and enjoyable your life will be. In the next video, let's consider a third myth that obstructs emotional well-being. Let's end emotional distress.